It's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to step back and realize who you are, because who you are is more than where you are. How many people in the world right now are in a place, are in a situation, are in a challenge that they don't want to be in? But where they are is always changing. Where we are is never the same. But the most constant thing in life is to really know who you are at your core. Let's be honest about the experience of being ourselves. How many of us have ever mismanaged ourselves, mismanaged our mind? Our mind really is what makes us great. Our mind is our brain in action. Our brain in action is our body in action. And unless we learn to stop and step back and observe the experience of being ourselves, what do? We go on repeat. We keep on doing what we've done. And if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. The time is now, not now, right now, to stop and look at what you're doing with your mind. What is the nature of the mind? Well, in Hinduism and in Buddhism, they have words like maya and dukkha, which means the illusions that the mind creates, the dysfunction, the suffering, the distraction, the misery. The Greeks call it missing the mark. Unless we learn to stop and step back and see what we're doing with our mind, we will always be a victim of it. The time has come. The time is now for all of us to realize we are more than where we are. We are more than what we experience in our life right now. And history is full of people that use their mind for the greater good. Nelson Mandela was a victim. Nelson Mandela was in prison. Where he wasn't who he was. He decided to really engage with his true self and realize that one day he would be elevated out of where he was. He used his mind for the greater good. What about you? Do you need a manager? Do you need someone to start watching your thoughts? Because your thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings create your actions. But left to your own devices, most people will just take the easy route. Let's be honest, how many times in your life have you got distracted? How many times have you started something and you didn't finish it? Who would you be if you learned how to use your mind in more powerful and productive ways? Look, I've been coaching people for over 30 years. I've written 20 books, many of them become best-selling books all around the world. All of my work is around helping people go from where they are to where they want to be. That is what a coach does. A coach helps someone go from the point of there to the point of not just where they want to be, but who they want to be. In fact, the word coach comes from a Hungarian word meaning a coach and horses. And why would anyone go on a coach and horse? Because they are somewhere and they want to go somewhere. But most people don't know where they want to go. They know where they don't want to be. Pain pushes and vision pulls. Most people start to use their mind in more powerful and productive ways when they come across something that is difficult, when they're faced with a challenge that forces them to stop. My wife, who passed away in May last year, wow, that was a turning point. That was a turning point where everything changed, where I had to stop and really look at the experience of being myself, because I believe life isn't about becoming, life is about overcoming. What can you overcome that allows you to become more? And unless we all learn to use our minds in more powerful and productive ways, we will have this incredible pattern, this credible habit of going round in circles. And the science backs this up. Science shows that human beings have this tendency to go round in circles. They put people in a forest and in an experiment and said, look, we want you to find your way out of here. There are no instruments. They just had to use their instinct. And what they found is that most people ended up going round in a big, big circle. Are you ready to start using your mind in more powerful ways. The nature of the mind is to help you to survive. The nature of your mind is to keep you out of danger. The nature of your mind is to protect you. If we want to thrive, if we want to succeed, we have to stop and put our mind where we want it to be. Our mind is like a channel. If you put it somewhere, it's going to do a good job for you, but most people will put their mind where their mind has gone before. Have you ever seen Star Trek? Star Trek, those famous words, to boldly go where no man has gone before. Most of us keep going in a very similar direction because we are pulled by pain, and when we get out of pain, we go back to who we were, who we thought we were, rather than being pulled by a vision. Pain pushes, vision pulls. A vision like Nelson Mandela had. He had a vision of how the world should be, and he fought for that vision. He was able to overcome the challenges that we face. You see, when we look at our mindset, all it means is, what is your mind set on? And if your mind is set on just getting by and just surviving, then it's unlikely that you will move through what you're going to face. Because life is, newsflash, life is difficult, life is challenging. You see, your mindset refers to your mental attitude, your beliefs, your perspectives that shape your thoughts, that shape your behavior and your responses to various situations and challenges. Let me say that to you again. Your mindset, it refers to your mental attitude, your beliefs, your perspectives that shape your thoughts, behaviors, your responses to various situations and challenges. The most incredible thing you will ever do with your life is decide where to put your mind. And you can put it down a rabbit hole. Right now, there are people all over the world that want to take your mind and take you to a place that they want you to go, rather than you stopping and stepping back. We live in a world where there's way too much information. The man who won the Nobel Prize in 1972 said the biggest problem in the world is too much information. 1972. Most of you weren't alive in 1972. I was 2. We had a couple of channels to watch television. We didn't have mobile phones. We had encyclopedias. We didn't have the internet. Right now, how many podcasts, how many videos, how many things could you consume that could take your mind away from the person you know that you could be? As Maslow said, Abraham Maslow, one of the forefathers of psychology, what man can be, he must be. To know yourself is to know your mind. And the Greeks knew this. So the Greek god Apollo and his temple that was built for him, it said, know thyself. How can you know your thyself? You got to stop. You got to step back. That's what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is when you become more mindful of what you're doing with your mind. Think of it like this. Have you ever found that you've mismanaged yourself? Have you ever found that your mind is playing a trick on you? Have you ever tried to go to sleep at night? Go to sleep at night and your mind is working overtime. You think someone's following you. There's nobody there. You think people are talking about you. And maybe they are, maybe they're not. Your mind is playing a trick on you, but your mind is really just trying to protect you. My coach once said to me many years ago, he said, what's the nature of the mind? I said, I gave him an answer. He laughed at me. He said, the nature of your mind is your mind plays tricks on you. How do you conquer your mind? How do you conquer your mind? I said something, he laughed at me. He said, how you conquer your mind is to find humor in what you're thinking. If you can't find humor in what you are thinking, you will be a victim of your mind. To rise up and to realize you are more than what you think. You are more than what you do. You are what you decide. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. If you learn to use your mind, M-I-N-D, my intentions now delivered. Start to deliver on your intentions. Start to do what you say you would. Look, ultimately, if we want to change, it means something's got to change. And if something's going to change, the biggest thing that will be changing will be you and how you use your mind. Look, do yourself a favor today. Go outside and look. Look at what's out there. Look at what's growing. And realize that everything that is growing is going up against something that is challenging that growth. You know this is true. Nothing grows without challenge. Nothing grows without pain, discomfort. And unless you learn to wake up and realize, I need to move through what is difficult, because life is not about becoming. Life is about overcoming the challenges that we face. As Tesla said, Nikola Tesla, progressive development of humans is dependent on our invention, what we create, what we make, what we build, something that the world has never seen before. And that could be you using your mind in different ways to reinvent as you deliver on your intentions. Who would you be? My intentions now delivered if you did what you said you were going to do. And the reason this is so difficult for so many people right now is their confidence has been knocked. It has been knocked because every time you said you were going to do something and you didn't do it, your brain, it remembers. It remembers. Now is the time for us to carve out. Now is the time for us to create the version of ourselves that we were put on this earth to be. The most incredible thing you will ever do in your life is where you put your mind. Stop putting it down the rabbit hole. Understand that the normal state of the mind is dysfunction. It's suffering and misery. But if you direct your mind in service of yourself and service to others, what is possible? Stop giving up your free will to other people. Stop giving up your attention. Where do you want your mind to put you? What do you want to create? Where do you want to go? Do you want traction or distraction? The word traction, distraction comes from the same word, a Latin word, trahere. You're either moving forwards or you're moving backwards. You're either growing or you are dying. Let's make the choice to go to a place that we've not gone before. Let's make the choice to become more than where we are. Where you are isn't who you are. Who you are is your choice. And this is where the relationship of you and your future self really comes to the party of life. Are you ready to use your mind like never before? It is your gift. It can be your curse unless you learn to use it in more powerful and productive ways.